Alright people, Mike Salden here again. Welcome back to some more Baldur's Gate 3. Picking up where we left off the last time in the goblin camp. I've been sabotaging them as much as possible. Taking out the goblin priestess leader. She was in this room here. Her body's just laying around in here. Um, but we came back here because there's actually a hole in this wall that I discovered. And if we jump in here, there's gonna be a load of barrels, like explosive barrels and wine barrels. And I formulated this plan to take out the Goblin King, which is basically just plant all these barrels next to his throne. And then we're going to do a bit of a Guy Fawkes and take out the king with all these explosive barrels. I accidentally had a barrel of alcohol with Karlach there. Lucky it wasn't an explosive barrel, or this could have gone extremely badly. Um, it is a shame that I wasted a barrel, but I couldn't bother to reload really, because I thought there was going to be more than enough to take him out anyway. So I just moved everyone in here and made them all pick up as many barrels as possible. Karlach picked up the most because she's like the strongest character, and then Lizelle got a few. And I think my main character couldn't jump in here. They weren't athletic enough or whatever. But as Tyrion, he managed to pick a few. Oh, my character did make it in here, actually. What am I talking about? Um, so I just stole everything that was in this little uh, explosive room or whatever. And because I found a way to sneak in by jumping in through that goblin priestess's room, it seemed like a good idea to just do this. I didn't take out the guards outside because it seemed a bit unnecessary when I could just jump in here. But then I tried to jump out again and realised that I was like too encumbered to get out. Or the only one that could get out this way was Lizelle, I think. Or no, she was too over encumbered as well, so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna lockpick the door and sneak out past the guards. Like, they are right outside here, but maybe if I just like sort of like sneak out quickly, they're not gonna say anything. And they might only annoy you if you're trying to go in from that other side of the door. If you just walk out casually or just like sneak walking, maybe I'll get away with it. I was looking to see if I had any potions of invisibility, but I decided I didn't want to waste any, so I just sort of snuck out like this. Had a hiding successful check, and it seemed like because I was outside the room when that guy spotted me, it didn't really bother them. I left the rest of my party in there because I just thought it would be easier to sneak them out one by one, and that they would probably get seen if we all went out at the same time. So, of course, as Tyrion and the rest of my party are over encumbered right now because we're carrying all these explosive barrels and barrels of alcohol back to the Goblin King's throne room. Um, I don't know if there's a more stealthy way to take him out. Like if you lure him over to the big giant chasm next to his throne and maybe sneak up behind him and then shove him. Maybe nobody will see you do that or something, but I don't know how that would work. So I set about placing all these barrels right next to him. It's pretty funny that he doesn't have anything to say about this, but maybe he just thinks you're helping him celebrate before the big battle at Emerald Grove or whatever. He's like, oh, thanks for bringing me all this alcohol. Not sure why you're bringing the explosive barrels as well, but yeah, thanks, mate. So I just started piling them up right in front of him, and I think I put out like some other like explosive items that I didn't know if it was gonna work or not. But I had some other items, like I think I put down this grease bottle, which I was hoping was going to explode as well. So if he survived, he would try to run away from his throne and like maybe slip on the grease bottle. Because I was thinking maybe the explosives would blow up the grease bottle along with anything else I placed there. So after this, I decided I was just going to sneak out with the rest of the party because Astarion had gotten away with it so easily. And because they didn't see me until I was already outside the room, it seemed like it didn't matter that the door to that room was just open, and we seemed to just completely get away with it. And then we just did this really slow, over encumbered walk all the way to the throne room. looking pretty suspicious that we're suddenly walking really slowly like this. Um, but yeah, this was just the way I had to do it because we were all over encumbered or whatever. So I picked up Asterion again, moved him over here, and then I grouped us all together. Because again, my plan is to set off all the barrels while we're hiding up in the rafters, or just hiding somewhere out of view. So I need us all to be grouped together so that nobody gets like isolated on their own and starts getting attacked by goblins. So yeah, I think again I was trying to place like the smoke bomb. I thought, why not plant that there? I mean, I don't know if it does blow up along with the barrels, but I was just trying everything, just placing stuff that I didn't really need or didn't think I needed, along with all the barrels. Um, I think I did plant a few next to the other goblins as well. Like I sort of led a path over towards them, uh, just to make sure I took out as many people as possible. Because while it would be good to just take out the Goblin King, it would leave all his little followers here who are just in front of his throne, and I'd probably have to fight my way past them. And while they would be probably a lot weaker without their leader to like guide them and how to fight and stuff, I still thought it would be a good idea to like leave a trail of barrels towards a few of them, so that they would get taken out. So yeah, let's see. Lizelle still had a barrel, so I was planting it. It was quite hard to plant these where you wanted them. The camera. This is the first time I felt it was like getting a bit awkward to place stuff. But it wasn't too bad. It's the first time it was annoying me. So I was able to deal with it because it wasn't really a problem in any other part of the game really. So yeah, I was leaving this trail of barrels towards the other goblins here. It looks so suspicious now. It would be funny if they started asking you what you were doing and you had to pass a persuasion check to make sure uh, to make sure that they left you alone, and you were like, "Oh, I'm just bringing you some alcohol for the celebrations." Uh, so I think I went up here, and there's a guy behind this throne. He's guarding these other barrels that I sort of wanted. So I tried to sneak and get those barrels, but this guy was being annoying. I think he noticed Asterion picking up that barrel, and I had to talk my way out of this, I think. Or actually, maybe I just put that barrel back because there was no option to persuade him. But I was still annoyed that I got caught trying to do that. Because, I mean, a few extra barrels can't hurt. So I think I waited till he turned around, stole the barrel again, and I think I got away with it this time. He ran over to investigate because the barrel was missing again. And I think I just sneak attacked this guy because he didn't have that much health. Um, but unfortunately, he actually caught me in some dialogue here, so I had to use deception or persuasion again. I think I was very lucky here and just passed it. Like, yeah, so then he teleported back over here. I had to wait till his friend wasn't looking, and then I just managed to like stealthily knife him because I thought it would be he's not going to get hit by a barrel because he's over here. So that alerted the Goblin King, but because the barrels were all right next to him, I just threw in a fireball here, and it just completely annihilated all of them, and it just went perfectly. And it, honestly, this was the moment where I was like, yeah, this game is a masterpiece, to be honest. It's probably the best RPG I've ever played, really. And I'm not even that far into it. But because of these mechanics, like if you think up a plan, you can pretty much just do it. There were two survivors here. There was one goblin who got away, and then there was this other sort of human guy that guards this upper area. He was around here. But he's not a big threat. He only has like 10 HP or something. And if I think if I just get a single shot on him, it actually puts him down so easily. But yeah, these guys, they were like nothing compared to how fighting the Goblin King would have been, plus all his like minions. So I was so happy that I pulled this off. and it just goes to show like how in depth the mechanics of this game are. That you could just pick up like a load of barrels and then place them next to like a really tough boss. Because I'm pretty sure the Goblin King would have been like a boss type character with a lot of HP, and that you could take him out in such like a sneaky, uh, like hidden sort of way. I just thought that was like so cool, and it's the most immersed I've been in an RPG in years. And it really does. I've said it before, I think, in other videos, but it really does feel like the actual spiritual successor to Dragon Age Origins that I've been waiting for. Because Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, they sort of moved away from the more classic RPG feel that the Origins had, and they start going down a more action sort of route. But really, Baldur's Gate 3, it's really feeling like Dragon Age Origins 2. I know that sounds probably silly, but yeah, that's just the vibe it has, and I'm absolutely loving it. Um, Probably gonna buy the physical edition that they're putting out next year, or actually it'll be 2024 when I upload this video probably. So this year, when they finally get out that collector, well, it's not a collector's edition. It's just a, well, it does have collectibles with it. But yeah, it's the big fancy physical edition they're putting out. I wish there was a kind of a standard edition for just like 50 quid or whatever that I could buy just on Amazon or something without all the extra stuff. Because I do need to sign up to Larian's store to be able to buy the physical edition. And it's just a bit of a hassle when I have to go to anything that isn't Amazon these days, because that's where I buy most of my games and stuff. Because I still love physical discs or whatever. But anyway, after taking out the Goblin King and sabotaging the goblins as much as possible, I went back to camp to rest for the night to do the battle the next day. And when I was doing this, I was visited by this dream character. But first, Lizelle tried to take me out because she was like, I can sense the Mind Flayer Parasite is gonna take us over soon. So I'm gonna take you out, I'm gonna take out everyone else. And then I'll probably just take out myself. And I was like, please chill, please calm down. We don't need to do this. And I think I just persuaded her to just wait. We're just exhausted from all the stuff we've been doing. Just calm down. Managed to persuade her pretty easily. I had a lot of +1 stuff to add. So Lizelle approved. I think everyone approved that I stopped her from attacking us, really. Uh, but then you have a dream. And finally, this Guardian character that we had to make showed up. And I'm still not sure what their role is or why I had to like be the one who creates their face and what they look like and whatever. And I'm not quite sure if I should even trust them because they're telling us to embrace the parasite's power and that we should really take advantage of the parasites. We've been holding ourselves back from using it, and it's actually a mistake to do that. Um, so yeah, this cutscene went on for quite a while, so I'm skipping through a bit of it. But that's basically what happened, where the Guardian was just basically saying you need to start using these parasites because it make you more powerful and you'll be able to survive. Also, when I was back in camp, the bard guy I rescued, he was here now, and he kind of offered to help us with our parasite. He had this plan he was gonna do. He was gonna like do some sort of brain surgery on us, and what it looked like. And to be honest, I was like, this guy has no clue what he's doing. He's probably just gonna blind me, or maybe actually get me a game over if I allow him to operate on me or whatever he was gonna do here. So I asked him some questions about if he knows what he's doing, and he didn't convince me at all. So I was just like, "No, we're not doing this, mate. Just you leave me alone, and we'll not pretend this didn't happen." Because I just don't trust that guy to be able to operate at all. I went to speak to Karlak while we were in camp, and I was like, I've thought of an idea to cool you down now, so that we might be able to like get together or whatever. Um, and it's just I'd thought I'm carrying around all these water bottles. So what if I threw a bottle of water on you? Would that work? And I just thought it would be funny to try this. And then I threw it on her, and she was like, "Hey, wait, this is pretty clever. Yeah, this might work." And then it sort of almost did, but we still got a bit burned when we did that. Um, and she was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And it was like, "Oh yeah, I saw sparks." And she was like, "Oh, so me too." And she was like, "Oh, I hate this. We need to find a permanent solution to this." And so I just said it was like, "Yeah, this is my top priority, even more than getting rid of the mind flayer." And Carlac was like, "Yeah, same here." And she was like, "You can go be with other people while you're waiting on me." By the way, and I was just like, "No, I'm gonna save myself for you, Carlac." Um, Even though Lizelle, she has been, there's an option in her dialogue to be like flirty with her or something, or that she's looking at us differently. But I just kind of ignored that because again, I'm just trying to romance Carlac and nobody else. Uh, Probably save having multiple partners for a second playthrough or whatever. But anyway, I eventually made it back to the Emerald Grove. I started stealing some stuff because everybody was getting ready for the battle and had abandoned their old posts. And I found this really cool witch's hat, or pointed hat, or whatever it was called. And I kind of thought it suited my bard character to have a hat. Um, I did want to give Carlac a new hat, but I kind of liked her big like Spartan helmet or whatever she's wearing. And I liked that Shadowheart had the original floppy hat, which looks kind of funny on her. And Lizelle just kind of has like a warrior's helmet, so I don't think it would suit her. So I kind of just kept this hat. And I just stole everything in this little storeroom because the Tefling who'd been guarding it, they were off getting ready for the battle now. So I just ran around the grove for a while, making preparations, speaking to everyone, making sure everyone was safe. I had a few skill checks and persuasion checks to do while I was speaking to people. Like there were some people who were like trying to hide, or they were being cowardly, and I'd like talk them into fighting, or gave them hope, or told them they were going to be a hero if they were able to fight. So I just checked in on the little thieves guild down here with Maul and everyone, just reassuring them that we're gonna be able to fight off the goblins or whatever, and we're gonna write a song about this one day or whatever. And also, she was the only trader left in camp, and I was like, I might as well sell some stuff before this battle. Because I always like selling to Maul rather than selling to anybody else, just for role playing purposes. My Tefling is like a Tefling nationalist or whatever, and they just love supporting other Teflings and their business ventures. So I just sold a load of stuff to Maul, which a lot of it was stolen from the Druids, and I thought it was pretty funny that I just was stealing from the Druids who are bullying the Teflings so much. And they are rightfully calling them thieves because they have stolen a lot of stuff, and I started stealing stuff too. So yeah, they aren't exactly wrong to be angry that all these Tefling children are stealing stuff because it is true. Like they are doing it, and I'm helping them. It's one of the like slightly evil things my character does. Mainly, they try to help people, but they are a bit of a thief, and they do like gold, and they will aid Teflings even if the Teflings are doing something slightly illegal, because they're sort of outcasts. The Teflings, I've figured, like they're like refugees and stuff. They don't have a lot, and they sort of need to steal to survive. And I don't mind helping them by also stealing, especially when the druids are kind of assholes. Well, at least the Kagya lady or whatever her name was, who was filling in for Haslin or whatever the bear guy was called. So I spoke to this other trader. He's the guy who was helping Karlak with mend her engine or whatever with the infernal iron. So I was hoping that he was going to survive this battle. Otherwise, Karlak might never get cooled down, and my romance option might get shut down. But we'll have to see how that goes. I also think I found the lady. Yes, she's. This is the one I bet 10 gold that I would see her in Baldur's Gate. And I think I managed to persuade her here that she's gonna buy me a drink once I make her survive this battle. So that was a little extra thing. Shadowheart approved of that for some reason. Uh, So again, I just spoke to all the Teflings, made sure they were all ready to fight. I tried to speak to the guy who died at the start, his sister, but she really wasn't wanting to speak to us for some reason. Don't know if that was a glitch, but yeah, I think that was everybody. So now I began formulating my plan to make this battle go in a more effective manner. I split up the party. I left my main character next to that horn, and then I went around as Karlak and picked up all these oil barrels. Because I noticed them laying around, and I thought they must be here for a reason. Like there must be a way I can set up the battlefield so that these can be useful. So I went around making sure there was no oil barrels hidden anywhere, um, like off sitting in any corners, and I just picked them all up as Karlak. She did get over encumbered, so much like the Goblin King, I had to walk really slowly to get to the area that I was planning to plant the barrels on, because I had seen a cutscene of this battle before on Twitter or whatever, so I knew that the dark elf lady or the drow elf or whatever, that she spawns out here on this hill sort of area. So I was like, I'm gonna plant a load of barrels up there, and hopefully it'll be around where she's standing. I hope this was the right hill, but it seemed like it was. Um, so I started planting a load of barrels here because the Goblin King had already taught me that planting barrels in the battlefield was going to be really useful. So I planted them around this area, and I just hoped that they would stay spawned out here. And I hope that they would, because the game seems to remember where you leave stuff, and it doesn't like stop you from doing these kind of crazy plans. So yeah, I left Karlak, Shadowheart, and Lizelle out here so that they would be like sort of behind the enemy, and that they could set off these barrels really easily. And I made sure Shadowheart was going to be able to hit one of the barrels from here. I broke one of them by mistake, but also I thought it would be good to have oil covering the place just so everything would go on fire easier or whatever. So I left my main character up by the horn, and then I swapped to Shadowheart because she was going to be throwing the fireball. The barrels don't show in this cutscene, but they did thankfully stay where I placed them. Because I had seen this exact cutscene on Twitter before, um, just when I was browsing. Because I have been trying to avoid spoilers for the game, but sometimes little clips and little like screenshots and stuff did come through. So this was one time I was sort of aware of how the battle was laid out or whatever, because I remember this shot of like the main character and the drow lady Minthara. I keep getting her name wrong, I think. But I need to play the game a few more times to like learn everybody's name properly. So I hope it doesn't annoy anyone too much that I'm getting everybody's name wrong. But yeah, my plan, it sort of came together quite well here, at least at first. So I managed to get Shadowheart to set off the oil barrels, completely wiped out Minthara or whatever her name is. So now the goblins had no leadership. Of course, I'd taken out the priestess and the Goblin King back at their camp, so they weren't here, and hopefully that like lowered the number of goblins that are in this battle. Next time, it would probably be better if I just take out all three leaders at the Goblin camp. But again, this was a blind playthrough, so I didn't realize that the Drow Elf lady, that she would escape the Goblin camp, and if you spoke to her too early, and then you couldn't take her down in the Goblin camp. Uh, so that was a bit of a mistake that made this battle even have to happen. But I also liked that I was able to plan out this sort of strategy where I divided my forces, and I was sort of flanking the enemy from behind or whatever, and I took out their leader right away in a really sneaky sort of fashion. Again, using barrels to assassinate their leaders. Really hilarious that barrels are so effective in this. I mean, you could create an entire class of character based around being able to carry heavy stuff, or being good with explosives and fire magic or something, and it would really be like an effective strategy in how to play the game, because blowing stuff up is really really useful in this. Again, I threw some I think that was a flaming alchemy potion or something over there, because there are some goblins that did survive. So I jumped in as Karlak to try to get towards these guys. This big ogre looked like he was going to be the main threat, but so far he was just throwing barrels up here and kind of missing quite often. Some goblins had gotten up here already. I wasn't sure how they did that. I think they climbed up or something. The gate was blowing up, and now these guys had like a really easy way in here. And I was kind of regretting sending all three of my party members to this hill, because I could have used maybe one of them hiding just behind the gate so that they could like unleash some spells on anyone who got near the gate down there. Because it was really up to my main character to sort of fend off everyone that got over this close to the main gate. Um, but again, blind playthrough, I don't have the best strategies or whatever, but I did just think it was funny to be able to take out the main leader, like right at the start of the fight, so that the goblins, they don't benefit from her leadership in any way. So I'm pretty sure she probably like buffed up all the characters, and gave them some sort of like advantage. Um, and I think I barely did just scrape a win by the end of this battle, because my characters really, they weren't getting that much help from people on the cliffside. Uh, Zevron, or whatever you call the main Tiefling leader guy, he's a really good fighter. I think he does a lot of damage to anyone who gets near him. But unfortunately, he couldn't help out my party down here much. Shadowheart and her inflict wounds spell is really powerful. My instincts have been mainly they hide her so that she can heal people and keep her sort of as a supporting character. But it's actually not a bad idea to have her in the front lines with like Karlak or someone backing her up, because that inflict wounds spell, she has to be really close to touch the enemy to be able to inflict it, but it does so much damage and it's really really powerful. Um, Karlak can take a lot of damage. She's probably my most powerful character. So I think teaming her and Shadowheart up is going to be a good idea. Lizelle didn't really get to do much here. She wasn't really effective in this plan. It was probably a mistake to send her out there. So Shadowheart and Lizelle went down, and there really wasn't a lot I could do for them. I wasn't panicking because I did have scrolls of resurrection or whatever, so that when this was over I could just bring them back. So I wasn't too panicked about that. But again, the plan it was starting to show a lot of cracks, in that it wasn't the most well thought out plan ever. But I am glad it wasn't too easy, this battle, and like it felt like a really desperate fight. And it had like peaks and troughs or whatever. Like it had really high highs where I took out their leadership right away, but then started getting really destroyed by by the counter offensive, if you will. But it felt really epic when I was doing this, and a lot of people were like turn-based gameplay isn't exciting or whatever. But I don't know, I found this really exciting and really epic. It's probably one of my favorite video game battles ever. It's not as large scale as it could have been, I think, because I took out some of the leadership back at the goblin camp. Like, I'm just assuming that if you don't take them out, they show up here too with even more goblins or whatever. Um, but yeah, I decided my main character really needed to get out this gate and get over to where Karlak is, because they were just getting destroyed over there. I think Shadowheart had actually died at this stage. I think Karlak had to fight this big ogre on her own. She was really doing pretty well to be staying alive this long. I was trying to resurrect Lizelle because I didn't have to resurrect anyone before this. But you can't use it when you're in the middle of combat. It's something you have to do after combat finishes if you survive. I think this guy blows up Karlak in a second. But I think she just about managed to get like a really strong last hit on this ogre and inflicts bleeding on him, which I think is what eventually takes him out. But he's also set on fire. So Karlak did really well to survive this long. Um, but unfortunately, she did go down as well there. My main character, they were just too slow at getting out here to back them up. But they had done their job, like they had like kept the enemy from invading the gates. They'd lured everyone over there, and it was a pretty worthwhile sacrifice in the end because I did end up winning the battle. It was a really kind of rough victory, and I did have some losses with Teflings on the wall or whatever. I think a few spiders. They took out the sister of the guy who died at the start. I forget their name. Uh, but yeah, that there ogre was blown up by his own what do you call it? Those little guys with the burning barrels on their back. I think Zephyrin or whatever his name is. He blew him up, and he took out the ogre as well. Because he was like really badly wounded already from Karlak. So she had done. We were only really able to win because Karlak had inflicted so much damage on him, and that meant there was only really one goblin left over here, who I could take out pretty easily with some archery. I think I just needed one more shot on him, or actually, the Tefling leader guy. I keep getting his name wrong, uh, but he took out the final goblin, and then I just had to go about resurrecting everybody. Hopefully they all got the XP for everything that happened still, even though they were knocked down. I think they do get XP share, but at least I hope so. But yeah, this is the first time I've had to resurrect any characters. But again, it did make the battle feel really epic, and like I just barely managed to get through it. So I came back down here, started robbing everybody, and I looked for Minratha or Minathara or whatever her name is. I was looking for her body because I was pretty sure she had like some really good gear or whatever. Um, I just short rested twice in a row to get everybody's health back up, just in case there was any more battles or anything after this. Um, and I did want to use a load of health potions or whatever. So I was really having a hard time finding the Minothara's body or whatever because it was kind of hidden in amongst a lot of other goblins and stuff. But she had a lot of good gear and stuff. She even had a new lair for me to play, a spider's lair, and I got all her armor plus this parasite from her. Again, the voice in her head was like the like guardian dream character was like, you need to consume that parasite because it'll make you stronger. And everyone in my party, when I spoke to them about it earlier, like they were against it. But there's something that makes me feel that because everybody's so against it, that it's actually maybe the right thing to take them, because it'll turn out that we actually aren't strong enough to fight something later on if we didn't take them. Um, so I don't know, maybe it is wrong to take them, but it's just the way everyone seems to be so against it. I'm feeling like there's going to be some sort of twist where actually, oh yeah, while everyone was scared of the parasites and the power, and they were warning you about it, you actually did need them because in this boss battle, you're going to have to fight this really tough enemy now, and it's going to be almost impossible because you didn't power yourself up with any parasites or something like that. I was trying to resurrect Mathara here, or whatever her name is, but it turns out you can't. So I just had Karlak collect her body because I thought it would be funny to store the bodies of my enemies. Zevlor, that's his name. I kept getting his name wrong. But yeah, I was going to say I thought it would be funny to store the bodies of like the main enemies back at my camp. I don't know if they despawn later, but yeah, Karlak's strong enough to carry her, so she can take the body back to camp. Zeflor and Haslin had a little conversation there or whatever, and basically he said there's going to be a party at our camp tonight. I went and spoke to my friend here who owes me a drink in Baldur's Gate. She was really happy that we both survived. This guy who I had to talk into being here because he was hiding somewhere, I think. I had to reassure him before the fight. I think I cut that out of the video just to save time. But yeah, I was really happy with this outcome. We did lose some characters, like some Tiefling NPCs. It's a bit sad, and I do feel like in a like fully like good playthrough, I would save everyone. But because this is sort of a rough blind playthrough, I kind of just want what happens to happen and not just reload everything because of a few NPCs who died. Um, I think I actually might have reloaded if the one who I had a bet with died, because it feels like it's leading somewhere with the buying her a drink thing and everything. And when we get to Baldur's Gate, it'd just be really cool if they follow through with that, and it leads to a little quest line. And it's all because of just this random character I spoke to away at the start of the game here, and someone you didn't even need to speak to. So I just went around speaking to all the Tieflings who were all thanking me for having survived, and it was really cool the way everyone had like at least one line of unique dialogue, and everybody had something to say to you. It's just really immersive and cool. And the way it's all animated too, like there's like a little 5 second little animation for them speaking to you. A lot of games don't go to that sort of effort, um, and I just really appreciated it. And it was really nice seeing who survived and managing to help my Tiefling kin or clansmen or whatever you would call them. But I did feel a real kinship to the Tieflings and how badly they'd been treated, and I really wanted to help them out. I wish I'd been able to save all of them and that nothing bad went wrong, but I think it just adds a bit more drama to my playthrough that I did lose a few people, and that the one who did want to talk to me, the sister of Kieran was it? Or what was it? What I actually can't remember his name, but he's the one who died at the gates during the first goblin attack. The fact she died, I think she actually wanted to die defending this place, just to join her brother or something. So that was kind of poetic that that happened. But it'll be interesting to see if she has any dialogue, if she manages to survive. Because I don't think it's scripted that she dies. Like, I think you can definitely save everyone if you like are good enough at the game. And like, if I took down all the goblin leaders back at the goblin camp and never allowed any of them to get out, that battle wouldn't have happened, I'm pretty sure, so everyone would survive. So it's already given like so much replay value from this very like first quest. Like, this is the main first quest line, is this goblin camp versus the druid grove or whatever, and it's already given me so many things to think about on a second playthrough. Um, I just spoke to my party here to get their reactions on taking that parasite, and most of them were not happy. Lizelle especially was not happy that we'd done it, but I tried to persuade them all that this might be the right thing to do, because it feels like a big game mechanic, these parasites and all the powers they give you, and I just think everyone is so against it, and it feels like the game's trying to really convince you that it's a bad idea, but in the fullness of time, I'm thinking just that it's gonna be like a bluff, and it actually turns out that the parasites are useful, and that you actually do end up needing them. So, but it is nice to be really conflicted about something like this in a game, where it's not so obvious what the right thing to do is. Because most games, they really do want to lead you to a bad ending, but this game, it seems like they don't mind if you make the wrong decisions, uh, or things aren't as black and white as many other RPGs so far in this game. And it's just really cool that I'm having to think about these things and having to question my character and my party members. And usually your party members, they all just go along with whatever you decide, but here you have to really pass some really quite high skill checks and try to convince them that it's a good idea. So Shadowheart and Lizelle, I managed to talk them around. Karlak, I kind of told her that I don't want her to take the parasite's power, just in case it is a bad idea. The rest of us, we can be doomed, but Karlak, I want Karlak to survive at all costs. So we'll see how it plays out. It might come back to bite me in the ass, but yeah. So I investigated the Druid Grove a little, and I did get a reward from a guy in there. This little wolf rune, which led me into this room where I got a spear and some other stuff. So that was a nice reward. And in the next video, I have to go back to the camp, and there's going to be a party with all the Teflings, I think. So that should be a lot of fun, and we'll see what else happens in that video. I guess I'll move on to the next main quest line or whatever. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time with another Baldur's Gate 3 video.